All right, markets on a bounce now. Bitcoin, ETH, crypto, stocks are all on a bounce, but is this a dead cat bounce, right? Can we believe in this? So first of all, we're having this bounce here, but this is not led by crypto. You know what it's led by? Obviously, it's by the stock market. So right here, this is like up 2.7% on the NASDAQ in composite. QQQs, 2.5 and 1.5 for SPY, right? Have they made it back to the new all-time highs yet? Not quite. We haven't even recovered this big line of dump yet, right? This big line of dump. So straight up, what is causing this bounce? Can we believe in it? And if we're getting a bounce, then obviously Bitcoin would get a big bounce. But what are some of the altcoins we would get into? I'm going to talk about the most bullish narrative that's been happening in the last 3 weeks. Whilst Bitcoin's been dumping, these stocks have been going straight through the roof. What's the most bullish coin right there, right now? So going straight into it, what caused this bounce today was because two of the Federal Reserve presidents came out and said they want to cut rates. Daly, right, says he wants to cut rates. And then before him, Waller says he wants to cut rates, right? These are all Fed presidents. And Waller is actually one of the executives. There's only like 5 executives, and there's 17 Fed presidents because you got regional presidents like, Philadelphia Fed, New York Fed. But the Waller is looking like the man to get the job to replace Jerome Powell, right? Of the 3 candidates that Trump could possibly name, Waller is right up there, right? One of the top 3 names up there. So what's the impact it had on the market? We've gone from 30% chance, like a week ago it was a 42%. I remember like it was at 30% even before that. And now we've gone to 85% chance of a rate cut. How much? Like looking like it wasn't going to happen. Now it's looking like 85% chance it's going to happen, right? Odds might climb even more by December the 10th. December the 10th, we get the next Fed meeting. So not only so, but, crypto has been dumping lately. Stocks have been dumping lately because, as I've been saying, we've had a liquidity crisis. And for crypto, it's double the crisis because for the stock market, it's basically, we're at 89K now. I'll give you guys the resistance levels as I see on this. For the stock market, it's basically the Federal Reserve said they weren't going to cut rates by December. The Federal Reserve also said they were not going to do proper QE. It might be just what they call repos. I've explained all this before in my videos from the last couple of days, but we can see here, right? The U.S. banking system is borrowing like a few $1 billion. Here was $50 billion. Here was $22 billion. But every couple of days, every next day, they borrow like, $2 or $5 billion from the central bank. And that's not normal. That's not a good situation, right? So the Fed knows they have to do little bit of QE. They won't admit it. They'll call it repos. They'll call it short-term repos, whatever they call it. They could pump a lot more liquidity into the market, and I don't think we should be so pessimistic. So on this Bitcoin bounce, are we in a V-shaped bottom? If this closed up higher, like here, right, 86 or above, then I'd call that a bottoming candle. Then I'd be looking for a V-shaped bottom. And then we could go all the way to like 100K or even 100 and what's the next, right? Even 107K, right? Eventually, I think we take out 116K to 118K eventually. But on this bounce we're in right now, because this is not a bottoming tail, because this didn't close. See the tail here, the wick didn't close all the way up. So I'm expecting more of these bottoming, crabbing, bouncing action before we go up. So probably another retest of the 80K area. So we're going up, we're bouncing, and the obvious resistance area I see here is this 92K area. So first of all, folks know I thought 92K was going to be a support. It didn't even bounce off here. It went straight through. And I explained why, because because one or two very large market makers in crypto was actually broken, and actually got they lost a lot on this day, on this crash on October the 11th when Bitcoin went to 101k. And oh, by the way, I'm also going to talk about the futures trade I'm doing on ETH and Bitcoin, just a small leverage. Before we get to that though, first that's answer the question of which crypto exchange does Pablo Heman use? Well, Pablo uses exchange that's non-KYC. That means you don't need to show any ID. That means even the exchange can't see who you are. So that means the exchange can't see you, the IRS can't see you, FBI, tax office, CIA, nobody can see you, total privacy, right? So I made this exclusive deal with them only on the Pablo Heman link. It says it's for first time deposit, first time trade, but if you are old member of the exchange, then just apply again using a new email. Whole point is they can't see who you are. Right? And basically, 20%. Deposit $100, get $20. Deposit $1,000, get $200. Right? First trade, get $10 to $500, and just open up a new account using a new email. They can't see who you are. Limited time only, folks. December the 5th, it ends. And if you're watching this on YouTube, then the link is in the description below. But if you're watching this on other platforms such as this one, that's okay. Just click on my profile page, and there's my link tree or stand link, and it should be the first deal that pops up because it's a great deal. Okay, let's get back to the markets, folks. But remember, this deal is only on the Pablo Heman link. So, Bitcoin, the bounce here, I don't see this as a V-shaped bottom and up we go. I think there's a very good chance we test low 80s again. And I see this as more of a short squeeze. And if I had to pick a bottom, probably 78, 79, right? We take out all the longs here, right? And then up we go. So 92K, for all the reasons why I said 92K could be good support. Now, those reasons are reversed. And I say why it could be good resistance. So 92K here, we can see all these bottoms here. We're at 92K, top here, right? Couple of bottoms here, right? And then this trend line is around, once we get up there around 94, I doubt we touch that. So between 92 and 94K, and that line is the line that has supported Bitcoin for this entire bull run. We've only touched it a couple of times here, didn't get close here, and we broke down here. So I'm expecting some sort of rejection here and then come down and retest low 80s, 78, 79, something like that, right? If liquidity continues to be bad, yes, it can go to 74K, and folks name 74K because of the fact we had this top, right? Major top before was at 74K. So it's basically this. And then the trade war bottom was also at 74K, right? 74K. This was April 7th, trade war bottom. So I think it's too obvious. I don't think we touched 74K. If I had to pick a bottom, 78 to 79, and then I think we have one more test of the 80K area. And one or two more tests, and then up we go. If for folks who say this is the start of a bear market, okay, so even if you have a start of a bear market, we should at least get a bounce, right? Bounce to 106K, entirely possible. 116, 118K, entirely possible. For the bears out there who thinks a bear market has started, right? So then you would have shoulder, head, and you need to bounce here, right? Maybe 106, maybe 116, minimum 100K, right? Something like this, shoulder, and down we go. I still think Bitcoin can easily make a new all-time high if we get the liquidity. If the Federal Reserve comes out with the rate cuts, with and their speech is dovish. Trump, by the way, is going to name the next Federal Reserve chairman. Trump is going to name the guy to replace Jerome Powell after just before Christmas. And so, yeah, I keep on repeating this. You imagine you have the new Federal Reserve Chairman and you have the old one, which is Jerome Powell, and they're both speaking to the board members, those 10 Federal Reserve chairmen who are voting. Who do you think they're going to listen to? They're going to listen to the new chairman because they know Jerome Powell is going to be gone by May next year, right? The last couple of meetings he'll be a lame duck. So what about ETH? Now, here are the trades that I've been making because Bitcoin has had such liquidity problems. So I've gone very light. So as I told folks, I would have a position in the low 2700s. It went lower to what was it, 2620. So that's why I didn't use high leverage. So only a light leverage. I think this was an 8 or a 9x for Bitcoin as well. Also just a light position with just 8x leverage as well. And I'm not expecting a bounce all the way up. I think that will come later. We'll probably retest and then go up. So for now, I probably look to shave off at least 50% of the position when we get to about 91.5, 92K. Okay, for ETH is kind of at a resistance already at this 2980. And then basically the next resistance is probably here, 3190. Let's call it 3200. We may not get there. We might only get to 3150-ish. I might trim off half my position there. I do think ETH has a good chance of making a very big bounce to like this area, like 4,000 again, pop above 4,000 again. Even if it's a bear market, I think we should get at least a short squeeze. And I'm not discounting a bull market. I think a bull market could still easily happen. Okay, so let me just show you guys a very important chart. Here, basically, this is the chart I've shown you guys before. It's basically when you have the bid versus ask ratio. When the amount of bids on the books of major exchanges, in this case Binance, the largest one, it's much bigger than the ask. So when the green, the bid is much higher than the ask, which is the red, then you generate a lot of buy signals because that means there's a lot more buying coming after you. So for example, like here we can see green is higher than the red, right? Number of here, right? When the bids are higher than the asks, right, by a large margin, then we get a lot of these green buy signals. The opposite happens, and we get these red sell signals. So when the sell orders, right, on the order books of Binance is much higher than the buy books, but the bids, then now we get these sell orders, and then it timed this top during the Trump election pretty well. I mean, there was more of a altcoin run still here for another 3 weeks, but essentially, if you're just trading Bitcoin, this timed it pretty well. Here was the bottom, and then the green signals started coming in. Here was a fake signal, right? False positive. More Bs. We got to the top, and then we actually had a mini altcoin season here. Boom, right? And then the S's came in, and it's roughly a good signal. And we're down here. We're still having S's, but look at this. The greens now have popped above the reds. So we are about to generate our first green B for buying signal. We're about to get a few of those. As I said, I think we chop around here, right? And then up we go. Whether that's a big bounce and that's end of a bull market, head, shoulder, or we take out and go straight up, I'm not sure yet, but let's see what happens. Okay, so now for altcoins, what's the most bullish altcoin out there? Let's pick one that's safe right now. By the way, this is I said we could have started a new altcoin season about 4 days ago, and look at this. This is Bitcoin Bitcoin dominance, it's been going down. Even though Bitcoin has been crashing, you would think Bitcoin would go up and alts would sell off, but Bitcoin has been going down. So let's have a look. Okay, the altcoin that's been doing amazingly well, obviously, is Zcash, ZEC. And when it was around like 350, I kept on calling for it to be going much higher because of the short squeezes. And then about 2 weeks ago, I said 750. I'm looking for a double top. So far, that's playing out. Double top here. And I was looking for a pullback to around 370 for a first buy. And then 295, 300 area for my second buy entry. So far, it's bouncing, swinging around. I mean, it doesn't have to get that far. If it gets there, I'll make some buys. If it doesn't get there, if I miss the trade, that's fine. So what I think everyone should be aware of is that right now we're forming kind of a shoulder head bounce. We could get something like a shoulder pattern here, and if it breaks down, then that's a big problem. So the target would be 450 to 750. Wow, that would be like $300 target. If we break down here, $300 from here would get us to $200. Sounds pretty amazing. If that happened. Okay, so what's another coin? ZEC is in the privacy narrative, as I showed you guys before in one of my earlier videos. The headquarters of ZEC is literally 5 minutes away from the CIA. Virginia Langley. It's like a Jason Bourne movie. I literally showed you guys this in my Discord and in one of my earlier videos. I just Googled what the ZEC headquarters is, and I showed you guys where it is. It's right next to the, it's in Massachusetts, Virginia. It's Virginia Langley, literally right next door to the CIA. You figure it out. And ZEC founders have never been arrested, whilst, you know what? This coin's competitors have their founders being arrested years ago. And yet its hash rate. Monero founders have been arrested and they're in jail serving a very long sentence. But yet its hash rate is still going up. Look at this. Hash rate is still rising. So even without the founder, right, people are still mining, right, and keeping Monero going. Not only so, it's taken off since July. Let's call that May. Since May, April, it's been going berserk, right? And here is a chart showing all the Monero miners, right? And even in China, you wouldn't think they would be, but they are. Lots of them in Europe here, especially, right? And lots of them on East Coast of United States. So the thing, what does that say about a coin like Monero? That means there's a real demand for privacy coins, and that means, personally, I think all these cryptos are risky. Even Bitcoin, as we saw, Bitcoin dumped like 36% with no warning, not even bounces, right? All these cryptos are kind of dangerous, right? But if you are into the privacy narrative and you think ZEC is the one, I would just say that be careful, because ZEC, one, is pretty obvious CIA backed, and what if that head and shoulders breaks down? Whilst Monero has not made its break into new all-time highs yet, so this was the high in 2021. Then we've actually had a recent high in May, and look at this. This doesn't look like any other crypto chart. In May, and then it bottomed in what? In August, and then it topped, and it's been holding pretty well recently. And you know what? This actually looks like a silver chart. Once we break through here, I think we can really make a run, provided that's if the leader of the privacy charts, privacy coins, which is ZEC, if Zcash doesn't actually crash. So I'll just show you guys the silver chart. It looks kind of like the same thing, but it's on like a 50-year scale. See the silver chart? See, it still looks like top in 1980, top in 2011. Now we're having another run here. Okay, thank you for your time, folks. I'll catch you guys next episode.